right, let's get to it. Today we're going to get into planting a soursop tree. Soursop tree is a fantastic tropical tree that does very, very well in the subtropics as long as it's not too cold. That's right, they don't like the cold. As a matter of fact, if you open a refrigerator in front of a soursop tree, they catch it cold and sometimes they even die. Now, if your tree gets hit by some cold snaps in the high 30s, 38, 40 degrees or so, even 45 sometimes, you get some very serious damage and you'll lose a lot of your leaves. If you get really, really bad, you'll lose all of your leaves and your tree could die. This particular tree here went through several frosts, several cold snaps, a few times in my garage throughout the years, but for the most part, it's a champ. It's done very, very well. As a matter of fact, this tree already produced some fruit, and it's about 6 years old, but it did produce some fruit, very small. I took the fruit off of the tree because it started to produce in the middle of January, and that's probably not a good idea. The other thing is that it was on a very small branch, and that wouldn't have been good either because it would probably be a good sized fruit, or maybe not, but if it would have been, it would have really stressed out the branch and probably broke it. But this guy's gone through several cycles in its life where it's lost every leaf. I thought it was going to die, and it came back, and it's doing great. So today on this video, we're going to talk about how I plant the tree, and I'm actually going to go ahead and plant it and share that with you guys in some detail. Before we get started, let me ask you guys a favor. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up, and you can hit that little button that says subscribe right on top, and also there's a little bell. That little bell, if you hit that, you can get updates every time a new video comes out. Thanks a lot for swinging by, and let's get right into it. Alright, so I have my planting hole ready to go. It's 36 inches wide by 2 feet deep. That's pretty good because this is very sandy at the base now, and it'll drain fine, and I won't have any problems. Now, I know my yard, I know how it drains, so I'm not going to go and do what you might have to do, which is fill the hole up with some water and watch to see how it drains. If you were to do that and it didn't drain very well, then you might want to consider a different location, or you might want to consider raising a mound and planting it so that these roots don't end up getting real sick from wet feet. These trees do not like wet feet, okay? Soursop trees like to be a little bit on the dry side. So the root system of the plant is real nice and healthy, and it's looking great, and I'm going to show you how to plant that in a minute. But I wanted to point out something. I talk about mycorrhizal fungi quite a bit, and it's very, very good stuff. And I usually go ahead and I add some to the containers, or I add some to the soil, but there's a little bit of a problem here. Where I live, I don't have a lake in the back, and I don't have a well, so I'm on city water. And if you're going to use the mycorrhizal fungi, you kind of limit it, and you might even kill the benefits of it if you were to use chlorinated water, which is what I have here. So because of ordinances, we're not allowed to have a well, and I have to actually store rainwater, and I use a lot of rainwater. But we're in the dry season. It's March 3rd today, 2018. So we're going to still have some time where I have to do a lot of watering myself. Don't have any more rainwater, so got to use the city water. It is what it is. Now, when I'm planting this in the ground now, what we'll do is we're going to rough up these roots a little bit, like this, all around the tree. I'm going to get in there, and I'm going to rough up these roots. All right, just to get them stimulated good. Rough them up down here at the bottom, and I'm going to go all around the tree, and then I'm going to place it in there. Alright, so I've placed it in the planting hole, and what I'm noticing immediately, and I'm doing this so that you can see and you can experience what I'm experiencing right now. This happens quite often because you dig the hole and then, you know, it's hit or miss. It's a little too deep or a little bit too high. In this case, I've planted it in there. I've spread the roots around like I said, and I took the measuring tape so you could see that I'm probably a good 2 inches deeper than I want to be, because grade is right around here. This is grade approximately. I mean, this thing's not perfectly balanced, so it's kind of hard to tell, but I'm guessing I'm about 1.5 inches to 2 inches too deep right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill the hole up a little bit, and then I'm going to raise it, because it's better to be higher by 2 or 3 inches than it is to be too low in the planting hole. So when I come back, I'll show you that I've raised the tree up higher. So here we are, we're in the planting hole, and we are about 1 inch above grade. And that's good. I'd rather be an inch higher, or 2 or 3, than to be an inch or 2 lower in the soil, because that would mean that I would bury the tree, the trunk of the tree, and that's not good for the tree. The other thing is that you'll notice that there's a lot of these roots. A lot of people will ask and worry about these roots. That's not a big deal, it's fine. This happens because the plant has been growing in a container its entire life, and they oftentimes actually lift themselves up a little bit out of the pot. So don't sweat those, just leave those alone, don't cut them, they're fine, and the tree's gonna do terrific. Now, I'm not gonna amend the hole with anything at all. I'm not gonna fertilize it, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna plant the tree and water it in really, really well. And I'll do that now, I'll show you how we do that. All right, so we've got our tree in there. I've put some water in there. I did not add any amendments like I said, and I already explained about the mycorrhiza and why I'm not using it. You could use it as long as you're not dealing with any chlorinated water. Like I explained earlier, I have chlorinated water here, no well, so until the rainy season comes, and it's not here yet, we will not be using the mycorrhiza. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start the backfill. And you'll notice there's a lot of rock in here. And you know, if a couple of rocks fall in there, I'm not gonna worry about it too much, it's not a big deal. So I'm gonna go around the entire tree here, and I'm gonna do this, and then I'm also going to take the hose, and I'm gonna go around with the hose. Just wanna make sure that I get out any air pockets, and get my tree in there, and then as I go around, and I can just go in here and use the rake to take this off. And get in here and just start to fill it in. So you'll come in and you'll just continue doing what I've been doing here, which is bringing in all of the soil from around the tree. Same soil that you dug out. You bring it in towards the center, and we're going to make a little ring around it to kind of maintain the water there instead of rolling away. So I pretty much have the tree planted. I have it about a little bit above the grade, so this way it'll drain well. These soursop trees need to be in a well-drained location. Alright, so our tree is planted. We put a little moat around the tree just to kind of keep the water trickling down to the roots, and we'll leave this here for as long as it lasts. We'll keep working on it as it falls apart. We'll keep mounding it for about a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get the mulch. I like to use the cypress mulch, which I have the cypress mulch right here, and this is a great mulch. It's relatively inexpensive. These are like $2.50 a bag or something like that at most of your garden centers. And this doesn't float away. It's really good. It breaks down nicely, slowly over time, and it does help to provide more organic material for this very sandy soil. Even though this is not terrible, this is pretty good soil. It drains well, and we will be supplementing the soil as time goes on with organic material, fertilizers, organic fertilizers, and so on. But in about a week or two, we'll go ahead and we'll spread this mound out a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and start mulching this, because the mulch also helps to keep the soil moisture in so that your plant doesn't dry out so quickly. So our tree looks good. We're going to let it drip here for a little while, let the water soak in, and we're good to go.